Hello, and welcome to Weekend Wisdom. I'm Tracy Whitney, and I'm excited about this opportunity to answer your questions. After all, that's what Weekend Wisdom is all about. You send your questions about adoption, foster care, or relative caregiving, and we comb through our resources to find an answer that will strengthen your family. Before I get into today's question, let me introduce myself. I've been with Creating a Family for 9 years now, writing articles and creating content for online education resources and for our interactive support group curriculums. I've also led a variety of those groups for post-adoptive families and now for kinship caregivers. I moderate the Facebook group hosted by Creating a Family and would love to see you join us over there. You can find us at facebook.com/groups/creatingafamily. I'm also a mom to 6 kids, from 30 down to 13, so today's question about raising teens is familiar territory for me. A listener from Lewiston, PA wrote, "Hi there. For 3 months now, we've been fostering our 17-year-old son with the intention to adopt. My question is regarding attachment. How can you tell if the child is setting up boundaries or testing you to see how hard you'll run or pursue them? Isn't the push-pull of these teen years so confusing? It sounds like you've only known this young man for a short time, and I'm sure there are so many things you don't understand about him yet. Can you imagine how confusing and even scary it is for him right now, too?" Your question reminds me that we often hear about attachment described as a dance. If you can get a picture in your head of a pair of trained ballroom dancers right now, it'll help you understand my metaphor and where I'm going. So in any choreographed dance, the pair of dancers move around the floor together and apart. They move toward each other, they separate, and sometimes one partner is pursuing the other. And sometimes they switch it up. The genre of the music, the steps required in the competition guidelines if they're in a competition, and the individual style of the dancers are just some of the factors that come together to create the final dance number. When partners are new to each other, they step on each other's toes. One partner might fall. They might both fall together. They might trip each other. Dance moves can get off rhythm, and the cues that they are trying to give each other, both visually and in the music, can get missed. So the longer a couple dances together, the fewer missteps are made. Their toes are spared. They follow each other through these intricate steps of coming together and moving apart with fewer mistakes. They interact more gracefully, and their movements are more fluid after years of practicing together. So the metaphor is that creating attachment with our kids is a lot like that. In the early days of meeting your son just 3 months ago, both of you were probably pretty unsure of how to connect with each other. As the adult, you likely led the way in creating those initial steps of connection by welcoming him, showing him that he's in a safe place, that you are safe adults, and that you are trustworthy and you'll be present with him. You probably received in your training before you welcomed him to your home some pretty good information about trauma in general. And then when you reviewed his case file, you probably got more specific information about his trauma. And then you used that information to move toward him in gentle, careful steps. I'm guessing that you probably saw glimmers of attachment forming between the two of you as he started stepping toward you. And then your dance routine began. So I want to pause for a minute here and acknowledge that if you are moving towards adoption with this 17-year-old young man, and he's an active participant in that process of pursuing adoption, it sounds like you're probably getting the foundational steps of this attachment dance right so far. It's excellent that you're actually framing your questions about his boundaries and his actions through the lens of attachment. These tween and teen years are really challenging for our kids who've experienced loss, neglect, and other trauma. So this 17-year-old came to you only 3 months ago. It's pretty safe to assume that in those 17 years, he experienced some pretty significant losses and experienced some pretty significant trauma on the way to being placed in your home. It could be that sometimes your attachment dance feels a little too vulnerable or unfamiliar to him, and that might be why you're feeling that push-pull. Another reason that you're probably feeling the push-pull is that push-pull is typical of the teen years. They are naturally wired when they're in adolescence to pursue independence. However, This young man is also in need of the closeness that he may not have experienced as a young child. He probably feels those two needs kind of tugging at him inside, and he's feeling confused by it. Honestly, I'm not even sure if you need to solve the question of whether or not he's putting up boundaries or testing your commitment to him. I think it might actually be more valuable to assume that the conflict he's expressing is how he's working out his side of the attachment dance. So your job is to just keep proving yourself faithful in that attachment dance. Be trustworthy, be safe, be present. He needs to know that when he's spinning out on that dance floor, feeling out of control, you're going to be right there at the center starting point, ready to reground and start over again. He needs to feel safe enough to dance close to you without any shame or embarrassment for his need, but he also needs to feel strong enough and secure enough to step out and try a new dance move, maybe several steps away from you. As you work out this dance with him, your job is to keep assuring him that both of his needs, independence and closeness, are valuable, normal, and acceptable. When he missteps, as we all do, face it together and talk about how to get back into your regular rhythm of attachment again. Ask him what's working about this attachment dance. Ask him what needs to be tweaked or improved. At his age, the skill of finding his voice and using it to express his needs well is vital, but it might be an underdeveloped skill still. So you can build him up and give him grace and space to find what works for him. Here are a few practical tips to help you put feet on the metaphor, pun fully intended. These are things that we've tried with our teenagers, both those who've experienced trauma and those who have not yet experienced significant life trauma. And we've just found them to be helpful in keeping that attachment dance going. Number one, check in with each other regularly. Even if he has nothing to talk about at this time, your consistency will tell him that you are with him and you are ready to talk whenever he's got something on his mind. If he isn't ready to talk yet, try leaving him little notes or sending him texts that tell him that you are there and you are ready. Number two, try to have fun together. Find things that you both enjoy or that he enjoys and you can learn about. There's nothing like laughter to glue you all together and build a stronger attachment between you. Number three, assure him and keep assuring him that no mistake is unsolvable. Kids mess up, adults mess up. There's nothing that we cannot solve when we are committed to solving it together as a family. Number four, try to make observations, not accusations. Teens are notoriously hypersensitive to adult criticism. So you can avoid this by using non-judgmental statements of observation, such as, I noticed, or I wonder, to get the conversation started. Hey, I noticed when you left for school this morning that you seemed really agitated. Want to talk about it? And then just leave it there and let him pick up the conversation from there if and when he's ready. Number five, consistently enforce just a few basic rules. Keep them simple and keep them steady. You should focus on the things that matter most to you and your partner if you have one. What is the identity of your family, who you are, and focus on those things the most. Be willing to flex with the other things. Number six, consistently communicate your family values. Since he's only been in your family for this very short time, don't assume that he knows the values. Talk about them explicitly in family meetings or around the dinner table. Maybe have a brainstorming session to create 2 or 3 simple sentences of who you are and what you value, and include his voice in that conversation. And number 7, no matter what, just keep dancing. No matter how old he is, make sure he knows he's always welcome to keep working out the attachment dance going on between you. He can experiment with new ways to connect with you, and you'll keep trying to build relationship and connection with him, and the dance will continue throughout your life together. Thanks for listening. I so appreciate your time. We always love any of your questions that you may want to be considered for Weekend Wisdom. You can email us at info@creatingafamily.org to have your questions answered or considered for an episode. And if you found today's information helpful, please leave us a rating or a review. It really helps us get more content like this into the hands of other families so that we can keep strengthening adoptive, foster, and kinship families. Have a great day.